The inner reward of unappreciated work. The notion of unappreciated work is familiar to many. However, its more profound psychological and existential implications are seldom fully understood. Unacknowledged work often leads to feelings of frustration, insignificance, or burnout, especially in professional and personal settings where the effort invested in tasks is overlooked, disregarded, or undervalued. Below the surface of ungrateful expectations exists a profound and inherent satisfaction that comes from engaging in work for its own sake, regardless of external validation. This chapter explores the inner rewards that arise from unappreciated work, proposing that there are powerful psychological and philosophical benefits to dedicating oneself to tasks that may never receive recognition but are meaningful and contribute to humankind's well-being. While society often celebrates visible efforts by praising some while neglecting or undervaluing the contributions of others, this chapter argues that those engaged in unacknowledged labor frequently undergo a process of personal transformation that carries greater long-term significance than external recognition. External validation is important, but internal validation remains the most fulfilling reward we can achieve. Through internal validation, we find satisfaction in the work itself and our accomplishments, unlocking more profound levels of personal growth, self-fulfillment, and lasting contentment. Subsection: the psychological landscape of unappreciated work. To fully comprehend the inner rewards of unappreciated work, exploring the psychological forces that govern human motivation and satisfaction is essential. At its core, motivation can be divided into two categories: intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation arises from external rewards such as money, recognition, or social status. In contrast, intrinsic motivation is driven by the internal satisfaction one derives from the activity itself, regardless of external validation. When engaging in unappreciated work, intrinsic motivation becomes the cornerstone of fulfillment. An individual may dedicate countless hours to a project that remains largely invisible to others, whether writing, researching, or behind-the-scenes labor. When the external rewards are absent, the satisfaction gained from the activity, whether through problem-solving, skill development, or personal growth, becomes the driving force. The work itself transforms into its own reward, offering fulfillment even without recognition. Subsection: a framework of meaning and purpose. The psychological theory of self-determination offers a helpful framework for understanding why unappreciated work can fulfill deep psychological needs. According to this theory, humans have three core needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. These needs are applicable regardless of culture or stage of development. In addition, these needs remain applicable when external recognition is lacking and can be met through unappreciated work. Cognitive evaluation theory, CET, is a subtheory of self-determination theory. This theory is a psychological theory that explains how external factors affect a person's intrinsic motivation. The cognitive evaluation theory emphasizes the significance of autonomy and competence in intrinsic motivation, asserting that any events perceived as undermining these factors will reduce intrinsic motivation. Events such as rewards, deadlines, feedback, and pressure affect feelings of autonomy and competence and thus enhance or undermine intrinsic motivation. Let's briefly discuss autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy. One of the most fundamental human needs is autonomy, the freedom to make choices and control one's actions. When working on a task without the external pressures of deadlines or expectations, we are tempted to enjoy our autonomy fully. The absence of external validation and strict guidance allows workers to explore ideas freely, experiment with preferable methods and tools, and pursue personal creative visions without fear of judgment. This unrestrained freedom fosters a deep sense of fulfillment, as the worker can shape the process to align with their values and desires. Competence. Humans are naturally driven to competency, able to meet challenges, grow, and master new skills. Even in the absence of external recognition, the experience of refining a skill, solving a complex problem, or overcoming a difficult task generates a deep sense of internal satisfaction. In unappreciated work, this pursuit of mastery is especially significant. The worker may not receive accolades, but the growing sense of competence is a reward in itself. The more effort and time invested, the more profound the sense of mastery becomes, leading to what psychologists call flow, which is a state of deep engagement and enjoyment in the work. Relatedness. The need for relatedness involves feeling connected to others or to something greater than oneself. In unappreciated work, external recognition may be absent, but the worker can still experience relatedness in meaningful ways. Whether through contributing to a larger cause, supporting a team, or engaging in personal growth, the worker can derive a sense of fulfillment from their connection to the task at hand or to a broader community of like-minded individuals. This relatedness, even in the absence of external validation, adds an important layer of meaning to the work, fostering a sense of purpose and belonging. Subsection: the reward of growth and development. To further understand the inner rewards of unappreciated work, consider concepts in mathematics, such as compounding returns. This idea is typically applied in finance, where an initial investment grows exponentially over time due to interest not only on the principal, but also on the accumulated interest. This principle can also be applied to personal development. In the context of unappreciated work, growth happens incrementally. While the worker may not see immediate rewards or public recognition, every small effort builds upon previous efforts, ultimately leading to significant personal growth. The more time and energy someone dedicates to a challenging task, the deeper their expertise, skill, and problem-solving abilities become. Though the external rewards may remain elusive, the worker's internal growth compounds over time, leading to increasingly sophisticated abilities. This reward is not immediate but accumulates gradually, often in ways that others cannot immediately recognize. Unappreciated work can thus be likened to an investment in one's future self. Through consistent effort, the worker becomes more proficient in a given skill and undergoes a more profound internal transformation. The deeper the commitment, the greater the personal growth, even if the worker's progress remains invisible to the outside world. Subsection: the philosophical perspective. The notion of unappreciated work resonates with several philosophical traditions that emphasize personal growth and virtue over external validation. A notable example is Stoicism, a school of thought that values internal mastery and discipline over external recognition. Philosophers such as Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius argued that true happiness and contentment stem from controlling one's internal responses to external events, not from seeking praise or validation from others. In this view, work, regardless of its outcome or recognition, is valuable in its own right, as it represents an opportunity to cultivate virtue, resilience, and self-discipline. The existentialist philosophy of Jean-Paul Sartre also provides valuable insight into the value of unappreciated work. Sartre's concept of bad faith refers to the tendency of individuals to define their identity through the expectations and judgments of others rather than through authentic choices and actions. Engaging in work that goes unrecognized, yet is pursued for its inherent value, provides a powerful counterbalance to the existential dilemma of seeking validation. By focusing on the intrinsic satisfaction derived from the process itself rather than external recognition, individuals can cultivate a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment independent of societal approval or reward. Hence, individuals define themselves by their actions, not by the approval or disapproval of others. This process of self-definition through unappreciated work can lead to greater personal integrity and autonomy. Subsection: the role of grit and resilience. Grit refers to the ability to persevere and remain committed to a goal, even when faced with setbacks. Grit and resilience are essential psychological traits that empower individuals to overcome challenges and setbacks, allowing them to pursue long-term goals with unwavering passion and commitment, even in the face of adversity. They are essential elements in the experience of unappreciated work. Research on grit has shown that individuals with high levels of perseverance are more likely to succeed in challenging, long-term endeavors, even when external recognition is absent. In the realm of unappreciated work, the act of persisting despite failure, doubt, or discouragement provides the worker with internal satisfaction. Similarly, resilience, characterized by the capacity to recover from setbacks and continue pursuing one's goals, is crucial when engaging in unappreciated work. Resilience empowers workers to persist through adversity, drawing fulfillment from the process itself rather than solely focusing on the end goal. Over time, the worker develops not only the ability to endure, but also the strength to grow from each challenge, fostering a sense of accomplishment and personal strength. Subsection: the social and cultural dimensions. Culturally and socially, certain forms of work are often undervalued or even dismissed outright. This disparity can lead to feelings of alienation or frustration for those whose efforts go unrecognized. However, there is a growing recognition of the value of all forms of labor, particularly those invisible or considered menial. This broader cultural shift toward recognizing the worth of unappreciated work provides a new kind of reward, one rooted in the understanding that all forms of labor contribute to the greater good, even when they are not celebrated or acknowledged by society at large. There is a profound satisfaction in knowing that one's contributions, regardless of visibility, are essential to the functioning of the world. This knowledge fosters a quiet fulfillment rooted in the understanding that collective success relies on the unseen efforts of many.